I brought out the Joshua Tree hat. It's back, okay? Our guest has over 3.7 million likes on TikTok as a spiritual coach, whatever the hell that means. And I was really taken aback by his ability to communicate about meditation, spirituality, all that bullshit. You were selling commercial real estate, and now you're a spiritual coach. Guys in Thailand and all over the place, they don't charge shit. So why
they charge a different currency, which is the currency of effort and time.
You know what's so good about you? You have that real estate background, so like you're used to sales objections.
Yeah,
so it's perfect. How do you have the chutzpah to think like, okay, I'm 24 years old and people are going to buy into me talking about such meaningful stuff in their life?
My most viewed video is just this simple affirmation video where it's like 15 seconds long. This video itself was what skyrocketed me from like 25,000 followers to like 60, 80,000 followers.
LawFlip, objection, your honor. Turn the game upside down. LawFlip, objection, your honor. Turn the game upside down.
Welcome to LawFlip. It's a conversation about law, life. I brought out the Joshua Tree hat. It's back. Okay? It's here. So, our guest has over 3.7 million likes on TikTok. He's as a spiritual coach, whatever the hell that means. So lawyers and others that are stuck in the traditional way of operating, they look at meditation and spirituality as bullshit. And so I'll admit I was one of them. And I met our next guest, and I was really taken aback by his ability to communicate about meditation, spirituality, all that bullshit. And I wanted him to share his thoughts with you all. So he's built a large following on social media through TikTok and other social media platforms. Let's find out why. Welcome to Christian Stockwell. Let's flip the game upside down, Christian.
Hey guys, I'm really happy to be here and really happy to get into these questions and kind of uncloud the cloud of BS that is surrounding spirituality and meditation. Because even I look at a lot of spiritual teachers, content creators, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And
all right, wait, before we get into that, follow us. Don't forget to follow us everywhere on social media at LawFlip, and subscribe and call us. We have a new phone number, Christian. It's 1-833. I remembered it this time, Ariane. 1-833-LawFlip. Let's repeat it. 1-833-LawFlip. Okay. So, Christian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Can you lead us?
I'm loving life right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you lead us in a brief, and I mean brief, 30-second meditation to start this thing off?
Yeah, we could totally do that. So what I want you to do is, if you're not already, sit somewhere where you can have your feet flat on the ground. And then try to get your spine straight, try to get your posture nice. And then what you're going to do is slowly take a 5-second inhale. 5, and exhale for 5 seconds. And now as you do this, bring your awareness to the bottom of your feet and kind of the sensation you feel, because you can tap into the stillness of the ground through your feet. So I want you to just notice how still the ground is and kind of breathe in that stillness. Just use your imagination here. And exhale. And then what you can do is kind of just become aware of how maybe your state of consciousness is a little bit calmer now, maybe 1%, maybe 10%, and just kind of notice the calmness that has just come in over you. And
that's
there
amazing.
We go.
I wasn't able to fully relax, and we'll work on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Christian, you were selling commercial real estate, and now you're a spiritual coach. How do you go home and tell mommy and daddy this? You're 24 years old. Explain this to me, because in my household, I'm in a Jewish household. I come back, I tell them I'm a spiritual coach. They say, get the fuck back to work.
Yeah.
So explain this, how this works.
So with my parents, they are very traditional in that aspect. They wanted me to go to college, which I did. They wanted me to get a good job, which I did. They wanted me to be an effective citizen of the United States, just like any other parent, just wants their kid to do well, wants their kid to be successful and be happy at the end of the day. And definitely when I first started telling them, I'm trying to do this coaching thing, because even before TikTok, I had already started my business. I already developed my business model, my programs, I had different lead generation methods. I would actually join Facebook groups of spiritual people and then just DM people and try to get them on like free consulting calls and stuff. And I think I closed like 3 people through that, but then that ended up they all ended up flaking before they like joined the program. So first of all,
it's just like there's so much to go into here. You referenced TikTok. You've built a crazy following. You have like millions of likes.
Yeah.
And hundreds of comments a day on your posts.
Yeah.
And then you talk about lead generation, and it's like for the people at home and for me, I'm like, it's very hard to reconcile. You have social media, you have lead generation, and then you have spirituality.
Yeah.
And you have explain how should we reconcile like the idea of spirituality and meditation with like lead generation and TikTok?
Yeah. So we live in a capitalist society. When you're running a business, doesn't matter if the business is based on spirituality or if it's based on doing legal work for people or architecture or commercial real estate. Either way, there has to be some type of structure and it has to work. It has to make sense. So in order for me to actually be able to give my fullest gifts to the world, to impact the people that I really want to impact, and to be able to spend a huge amount of my time doing that, I would have to be making money off of it.
But the people in the real deal guys in Thailand and all over the place, they don't charge shit. So why
they charge a different currency, which is the currency of effort and time. They won't take on people. They will not take on a person to work under them unless that person has been devoting a lot of hard work or effort into becoming their disciple.
Okay.
So I take that as well, but I also take money as an example of that, because money is just energy. If I invest money into something, it's the same as if I invest time or I invest effort. I have some skin in the game, and I'm going to actually listen to what the person says.
You know what's so good about you? You have that real estate background, so like you're used to sales objections.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So so TikTok, what's like your most viewed video? Is there like what's the concept behind your most viewed video?
Yeah, so my most viewed video is just this simple affirmation video where it's like 15 seconds long. It has like, I haven't checked recently, but last time I checked it had like 3.8 or 3.9 million views. And wow. I've probably had 6 or 7 videos get over 1 million.
Wow.
And this video itself was what skyrocketed me from like 25,000 followers over like 2-week period to like 60, 80,000 followers.
That's unreal. And like, these are real, legit. These are not bots. These are like real people that are interacting with you. And so like, okay, let's pull back for a second. What do you feel like your purpose on earth is? Like what's driving you?
Yeah, I just want to heal as many people as I possibly can with the knowledge and the ways that I've healed myself, because I personally grew up with intense social anxiety, intense depression, panic attacks. I had OCD. Like I had a version of OCD that's not as well known called pure obsessional OCD, where you don't really have physical compulsions. Like I wasn't sitting around kind of like organizing my room and freaking out about it. I would have thought rituals. So I would have to think things through in a certain way or else I would not feel okay. And
what's an example?
Like if some situation happened to me, I would have to like analyze it from all ways and understand it from a completely like cold, logical way before I could feel comfortable. I could never just flow with something emotionally. Like I would have to understand all the possible like outcomes of I was like a logic computer in my brain that like constantly had to be going. And this caused me a ton of trauma. Like, and I use the word trauma loosely. I'm not talking about like intense like PTSD type trauma. I'm just talking about general chronic trauma of just constantly being inundated with repetitive thoughts that are blocking me from the actual experience of connecting with someone.
And then what do you think allowed you to get through this?
Meditation and breath work.
That's really like you would really attribute this growth strictly to meditation and breath work?
100%. Well, also just willingness to face my fears also.
Was it hard for you though? Like, cause like for me, I have tried meditation so many times. I've talked about this. Like it is really hard for me to put down the phone, put down work, put down everything and just do it. Like, was that hard for you at all?
Yeah, definitely. I would say it is still hard for me at times. Like sometimes I'm so in the flow of working, I don't want to take a break, but that's always the time when meditation rewards me the most. And oftentimes the problem with meditation is people have unrealistic expectations set upon it.
Like, I'm going to become a hero after doing this like 30-minute meditation.
Yeah. Or even just thinking like, I'm going to be in this peaceful state for 30 minutes. Most of meditation is just you cutting off stimulus to your environment, cutting off your access to your cell phone, put it on do not disturb, don't play any music, don't do anything. Just sit down in a chair or on the floor if it's comfortable and just be with yourself. Observe your own thoughts.
Do you believe in the guided meditation, or you believe in just because like I had my friend Rhea on, and she's done both like the real deal or whatever I shouldn't say real deal, but like the meditation, in Indonesia, and then she's done like the guided retreats, and she says like, you can't compare like the stuff where you're in silent meditation. That's where it really happens. What's your feelings on the two?
So I think meditation is such a broad term.
Right.
And I think there's so many different facets to it that are really positive and really amazing. But they each serve their own purpose.
Yeah.
So for example, the silent meditation is key because it'll really help you just start to become more comfortable with your inner workings and become more aware of these patterns and these kind of like subconscious belief systems that are throwing out judgments about things and intuitions about things, and like trying to make sense of your reality from a flawed perspective. Because we have our conscious mind that sees things as clearly as we can, but then we have our subconscious that sees things from the patterns of the past. So let's say someone got cheated on in a relationship or something, then they're going to start seeing every potential partner as a cheater and start to see them not showing up at the right time as they're cheating or something.
Yeah.
But that's a flawed perception, not based on a conscious assessment of reality, but based on emotional trauma that happened in the past, and it's kind of coloring your current perspective.
Why do you feel like, I get that you've overcome, personal challenges, but like, how do you have the chutzpah to think like, okay, I'm 24 years old and like people are going to believe or going to like buy into me talking about such meaningful stuff in their life?
Yeah. The main thing I say is just I get results. I got results for myself. I get results for people I work with. I'm results driven in that way. I just focus on, I know I can give an impact. Like one thing I do have with all my clients is I have a money back guarantee form, which no one's ever utilized yet. But it basically says if you feel like you didn't get what you were expecting out of the course, then you can get a full refund.
All right, that's fair.
And I have that in place for that reason exactly. Well, because I'm so confident in my teachings that I know if someone's working with me for 8 weeks, I will cause them to have a transformation, whether or not that's like the biggest transformation in the world or just enough to where they're living a significantly better life after.
Yeah.
I know I can get them that. So
that's amazing.
So that's unreal. I feel so comfortable offering that money back guarantee because I know that they're gonna enjoy the process, and they might be apprehensive at the beginning because it's like kid from TikTok is telling me all these things,
right? And
like maybe is good on the phone, but like, do I really know that this person can get me results? And that kind of gives them the cushion to know like, okay, I'm paying this money. I'm either getting the result or I get my money back. Like,
yeah, sounds pretty good to me. Okay, why is it so hard for people to dive into this whole concept of meditation and spirituality and like it, just like for me, when I think about it, it's like, it's like many other things. Like that sounds good, but I don't know that I have the bandwidth to enter that space. Like what?
I'd say you don't have the don't have the bandwidth to not enter it.
Right. No, I hear that, and I've seen that in other areas of my life where I've thought the same thing, and then like once you're able to overcome it, you then say, "Wow, I can overcome anything." But what have you seen some pretty amazing transformations?
Yeah. So most of my clients, I work with people that are already into meditation, and I kind of take them to a new level. So I wouldn't say that I'm like the best person to go to like learn basic techniques of meditation. I'm totally good at teaching.
Why?
them.
It just gets like repetitive and like you answer the same questions over and over again. Like what is it about that beginner thing that bothers you?
It's just it's harder for me to relate because it's been so long since I have been in that field, So it's harder for me to relate to someone that doesn't have the same like type of background and experiences as people that have maybe at least been into it for a month or two and are clicking with it somehow. Some part of them is clicking with it. But what I do suggest to people is like, the best metaphor I make is like, if meditating is hard for you, it means you really need to do it. It's like if going for a run is hard,
right?
It's like you really need to go for a run
for sure.
Unless it's like joint pains, obviously. But like if you're trying to get fit and you're like, well, I'm too slow when I run. It's like, well, then like run more.
Right. So then a lot of people, a lot of people affiliate like spirituality and meditation with potentially like I've seen a lot of people do like drug use, ayahuasca, all this stuff. Like, do you think that sometimes people use it as an excuse to use excessive or do excessive drug use? And then like, what's your take on drug use in general? Like, do you actually believe that there is a medicinal use in getting towards a better place with spirituality?
So I agree with both of those. There are a ton of people that just abuse drugs in the name of like, I want to be on a better vibe or something. Like you see a lot of stoners that like, they're like, oh, I just need to like clear my head. Like
I just heard somebody say something like,
weed.
Is there a question like, are you circle ready? Have you heard this question?
What does that mean?
Okay, I don't know. Like, there's something about ayahuasca. And okay, we'll skip that one.
Yeah, so I haven't done ayahuasca. I actually am probably going on an ayahuasca retreat when things open up in Costa Rica because I got invited by a friend that has a connection there, and so I think I'm gonna do that. I haven't done it yet. I've done a good amount of psychedelics. I love psychedelics, but I think they are best used very infrequently. Not very often. Some people use them too often, and you can tell in the type of person. Like, it really puts you in a weird state of mind where you're not really relatable to people. You're kind of out in outer space, so to speak.
Okay.
And I'm sure we've all met people like that, and the epitome of that is like
because you're like a very practical person.
Yeah.
That talks about spirituality and meditation. I think that's what makes you super accessible. Mm-hmm. So are spirituality and science at odds?
Not in my opinion. I think spirituality is just an intuitive perspective of the universe. And it goes along with a lot of scientific discoveries. It's not like science will ever disprove a lot of these spiritual concepts, but what people that don't like spirituality will say in response is, well, that's because they're kind of not provable or disprovable, so like anyone can believe them. But that's just the nature of how they are. It doesn't matter if it's unfortunate for science people that they can't understand it. Like, it's the nature of how they are. So.
Sure. Some people use religion for, as a pretext for unethical behavior. So they'll say like, okay, like the ends of helping a church or a temple justify the means like of ripping somebody off. Do you see people using spirituality as a justification for poor behavior at all?
I actually see the opposite, where they use it as a justification to pretend they have the best behavior of all time and then not actually tap into like what's actually going on inside of them.
Right.
So it's not you see it more in religion where they kind of use it in the name of like hate.
Right.
But spirituality, what I see more often as the problem is people like tense themselves up and force themselves into a way of being that's not really authentic to them. And then what they do is they're just creating this kind of darker side on their subconscious, and they're kind of disowning this piece of themselves instead of reintegrating and loving it like a child that's acting up. You don't go lock it in a room, you teach it how to behave. So if like a part of you wants to punch someone in the face, you don't punch them in the face, but you also don't pretend that part of you doesn't exist, because that can be also bad to do.
Sure. So what are some so we have a lot of professionals and lawyers that are really stuck in these ways and they don't know another way of living. Mm-hmm. What are some practical ways for them to sort of take a look at how they're operating and say, you know what? Maybe I want to take a shot at looking at life and my personal life and my professional life from a different perspective.
Yeah. So I would say no need to take the leap from being like super logical and not believing in anything like that to going and like praying to angels and like trying to like go find the magic elves in the forest or something. Like, there's
Sounds amazing, by the way.
Yeah, I want to do that too. But there's no need to jump there because science has already backed a lot of meditation's benefits. So you could just take it on a strictly, like someone could be atheist, completely just by the book, science, could all this stuff. And you could still see that there's scientific studies that show that meditation increases the gray matter in the brain and increases the ability to use your prefrontal cortex, strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which is your center for conscious decision making and your willpower. So there are so many benefits that I would suggest just looking into, along with just kind of lowering the effects of depression, anxiety, stress, really just lowering stress. It really taps you into like understanding, like getting back in touch with, you know what, I'm already grateful for the things I do have. And
is that what spirituality is like, so what is spirituality? So like, I want to become better or a more spiritual person. What does that actually look like for me as a person? Does that mean that I'm going to be a less toxic person? Does it mean I'm going to be a less hateful person? What does it actually mean?
Yeah, so in essence, I would say it's getting in touch with yourself on the deepest level, and then also getting in touch with the environment, like not environment like picking up bags on the beach. That could be great too, but like your personal environment, being present to the moment, being engaged with the people you're speaking with instead of being trapped up in like mental dialogue.
Yeah.
So you're being here and now is a big core of it. And then also people would say your connection to a higher power is a big part in spirituality.
And what's a higher power to you? Because is that the type of thing like in the 12-step program where a higher power could be almost, it could be a religious figure, it could be, you know, whatever, a group conscious type of thing?
Yeah. One quote I liked, which is in one of the ancient Taoist texts, but they say that can be explained in words is not the Tao, which means the Tao, and that is called the way. But then that could be also translated in other meanings to God. Anything that you can put into words and describe God is not going to be what God is, not what a higher power truly is. But in essence, I would say like it's a conscious force that is overlooking your life and helping you learn the lessons you need to learn, but also continue to move forward in the best possible way for you and others.
All of my experiences with you have been 100% positive. I see you as an inspiring, respectable figure. I just get good vibes with you every time. What do you think you're doing? I could probably articulate it, but like, what are you doing? What work are you putting in, or what mindset do you have to produce this sort of happy, content person that? I understand that you did meditation and that was what would help you, but what are some like practical things? Like when you think about your day, what are you doing?
I try to focus on giving because my view of, so people talk about law of attraction, like you get what you resonate with, what you're thinking about and what you're kind of being, the vibes and the karma you're putting out is what you're going to get back, that kind of stuff. But what I think is when you are focused on what you can give to the world, what information you can give or what help you can give in terms of like trying to implement some like system, like whatever it may be, just trying to help others and help yourself. When you're focused on that, what you're going to see is that the universe will focus on how it can give back to you.
I've definitely seen that.
Mm-hmm. And we could take that into like Motion LA is a great example of that. It's like from the beginning, it's been focused on giving, and now it's starting to come back where there's so many positive results of people just wanting to give back to each other and back to the organization.
Yeah. And Motion LA, just for people who don't know, it's like this entrepreneurial workout that I started that Christians come to. And yeah, it's just been about like helping each other and building a great community.
Yeah.
So for those still struggling in their career and their personal lives, are there any other tips that you have? Just like, you know, just simple tips that have helped you and you think might help them.
Yeah. Explore and set your prejudgments aside and allow yourself to have some type of experience with it. Because obviously the stuff that is talked about in meditation and spiritual fields seems really out there, and it's like, how can you even have a base for saying something like this? But the base for it is the experience. So I'd say try things, explore, set your prejudgments aside and just give things a shot and give it a chance to work for you, because it works in a kind of placebo-like way as well, where if you're like, this meditation's not going to do anything for me, then it won't, because you're resisting it. But if you're like, it might, let's see, then you'll actually open yourself up to the possibility that it will.
Yeah.
You don't have to fully believe in it. You can just say, maybe this will work.
Yeah. And like gratitude for me, for some reason recently, the moment I start having negative thoughts, it's not that I don't shut it down. I say like, okay, it's okay. Like, I think that's one of the other things that we try to just get rid of all negative thoughts or call it depression. So you're sad, you're upset. That means I'm depressed. No, it just means that you're having like a normal human experience and you're sad.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that? Like being grateful and also sadness, and how we should look at that.
I love that you brought that up, because that's a big key to my teaching, which is basically authenticity over positivity. It's great to be a positive person, but it's much better to be an authentically positive person, because we've all seen people that are fake positive, that are like, you could still be real positive even if you're sad and you're like pulling out your true positivity in yourself. But there's some people that totally are just parodying it. Like they're not really doing it.
They're just forcing it.
Yeah. And that never comes across as like warming and like, and like connecting, right? It comes across like, oh, that was kind of weird. You know, you know, so it's much better. But then you'll notice some people could be genuinely sad and like, you know what, like I'm sad right now, but I'm still like here with you and present, and you could still feel good in their presence.
Sure.
So
sure.
I'd say, like you said, it's really important to not, a lot of people will have a negative thought and then go, no, I didn't mean that, in their own head. And they're like having this war with themselves.
Right.
It's like, no, it's like if you're like, you have children, like if one of your kids came up and was like, said something like, I don't like this thing, and like some like angry thing or something, you wouldn't go like, no, he didn't mean that. Like it's
funny.
So
no,
weird.
We actually do sometimes do that.
Okay,
I think that's actually a bad look. I think it's a bad idea. So I actually completely agree with you. That's not the way to do it. Okay, let's move to deal of the week. Christian, what is your deal of the week?
So I want you guys to try out 5 minutes of meditation for 7 days.
Wow. Okay. What are some easy, quick ways for them to do that?
Yeah. So I would suggest you could get one of the guided meditation apps like Headspace or Calm. Those are really good ones, or any other one you find that works. You'd use YouTube guided meditations. I have a couple guided meditations that are more specific about like kind of moving energy and releasing it. Or you could literally just set a timer on your phone, 5 minutes, sit somewhere comfortable, sit in a chair, close your eyes, and then just focus on your breath. And you could think about whatever you want to think about, or you could focus on the sensations in your body, the emotions, the feelings, whatever may come up, just allow it. And just give yourself kind of like a timeout for 5 minutes to like just sit there and just allow yourself to not be constantly smacked with stimulus for 5 minutes.
It's hard, but let's try it, guys.
5 minutes.
So my deal of the week, make decisions based on what you think will truly make you feel happy, not what you think other people will respect or admire. This is something that I, along with I think many, have struggled with. You go through life, you make these decisions, and you actually literally make life-altering decisions based on what you think other people will respect and admire. And it really doesn't work for a variety of reasons. One is people are going to feel what they feel no matter what you do. And like, just in my experience, when I have made decisions based on what will make me happy and what I believe to be the right move, it just generally tends to work out. And so it'll open up a freedom that you have never felt before. And I highly encourage you to do that. So that's my deal of the week. Legal tip of the week. This is sponsored by Smith & Benowitz. It's an incredible employment, personal injury, and class action law firm. You can reach us at 1-833-LawFlip. And you can also find us on the YouTube and on the socials at Smith Benowitz. Okay, so a lot of the people you put the most trust in try to take advantage of you. It's horrible. We don't like to think that, but it's true. So therapy for me and many others, is one of the most useful tools available. And we've heard from clients that we've had therapists who have literally sexually harassed their own clients. And so it sounds crazy, but it's real. And you may not know this. It may sound fairly obvious, but it's legal. So if that happens to you or any other sort of abuse by your therapist, contact us or any other law firm that's experienced in the subject matter, and it'll be addressed. Christian, we learned a lot today. I really appreciate your time. If you could tell us where we could find you and any parting words for the LawFlip audience.
Yeah, you could find me on Instagram at Christian Stocks. So that's STOCKZ. And then on TikTok, Christian Stockwell, stock and well, just like the two words. And those are my two main forms of social media. So you could definitely shoot me a DM on Instagram or something if you want to learn more. And yeah, just thanks so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
It was amazing.
And I hope anyone out there that watched this got some information onto the non-BS side of spirituality, because there are people like us out there that genuinely have information that is helpful for people who really want to go down that alley.
Amazing, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right. We will see you next week, LawFlip. Whether it's on this planet or another planet, we will be here.
LawFlip, objection, Your Honor. Turn the game upside down. LawFlip, objection, Your Honor. Turn the game upside down.
Okay, so Arian, they're asking where they could find us. So for LawFlip, it's at LawFlip and LawFlip.com. For Smith & Benowitz, our law firm, which does personal injury, employment, and class actions, you can find us at Smith Benowitz and SmithBenowitz.com. For the personal stuff, like where you're really going to find the juicy stuff, at Benjy Smith and BenjySmith.com. At Wages Guru and LewisBenowitz.com for Lewis. Oh, so LawFlip is produced, directed, and edited by the young legend Arian Tabibian. Visual effects and compositions by another young legend, Oren Azad. Intro music provided by Pen Practice. Pen Practice, what is it? Premium instrumentals for upcoming artists by the music industry's top producers. For more info, visit penpracticemusic.com. I had so much fun recording the intro song with my man Hilton Deuce Wright. Looking forward to hearing more and more from Pen Practice. So the LawFlip identity, this hot logo that you're looking at, created by Garrett Whiston and Travis Nagel. Special thank you to Shai and Seth from the Horwitz Marketing Agency. And lastly, a huge thank you to our beautiful wives, Julie and Lisa, for supporting our vision, and all the love to all of our 4 boys combined. Disclaimer, this podcast is made available by Smith & Benowitz for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is only intended to provide general information and opinions about legal and other concepts, and is not intended to be used as a source of legal advice or relied on for legal advice. By listening to this podcast, you understand that no attorney-client relationship is being formed between you and Smith & Benowitz or any of its attorneys. This podcast should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a licensed professional attorney in your state.